Hail Faithful. This is the Metal Hammer of Doom podcast, and I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, oddly enough, is the first of our 5 last shows for 2015. It's been a bumpy year. Had some issues hither and thither. No exoduses this year, though. No children being born in the Radulich household. Thank God. The disarmament worked. But I had some stuff I needed to take care of, and so didn't do as many shows as maybe we had talked about. You know, little Lamb of God gone missing here, a little Five-Finger Death Punch off the schedule there. But we have come to the final lap of 2015, and what a lap it is! Tonight we are reviewing one of my favorite bands of all time, a band I've seen probably like 20 times, Slayer. Slayer's coming, and their new album Repentless. A little bit of cleanup here. On October 8th, we'll be reviewing the new Clutch. On the 22nd, we'll be reviewing a Thrash album. And then in November, we're going to be reviewing the best of Limp Bizkit. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do once we get to December. But that voice you're hearing in the background, hemming and hawing and harumping, is the one and only Mr. Robert Coop of the Metal Coop. How do you do, sir?
Like I said when you first picked up before the show, it had been far too long, Mark Radulich. Like, we went with, like, what? Wasn't it a month between the last time I did this podcast anyways? And then before that was, like, another month, even though, I don't know if you ever did, but anybody listening, go check out Jesse Starcher and I doing this Woods 5, Gray Skies and Electric Light by Woods of Ypres. Probably one of my best podcasts ever. Yeah, did you ever go listen to it?
It's on my playlist. I haven't gotten a chance yet. Too busy listening to an Antarctica cover, I Can't Dance.
Yeah, but you at least listened to Throssenblatt finally.
I did. All right, let me stop you there. There's a couple things I want to talk about tonight before we actually get to the album. This is why our podcasts go till like 2 hours. We had 20 minutes of material stretched out over 2 hours because we keep telling stories. But for those of you who have heard me on other podcasts, you may know that I was associated with the Casual Heroes, Gavin Napier and Chris Evans and Jed. I don't know what his actual last name is.
Jed.
He's just Jed.
Jed.
So we're also, and no matter how many times I've tried to get out of it, they keep dragging me back in. We're connected by a Facebook messenger box, and I renamed it No Wrestling for Old Men because when we were first getting this thing going, it was a lot of old man complaining about wrestling type stuff. In any case, Gavin had posted in the messenger something about Cover Nation on YouTube being the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, we all know how much I like covers. We've done 2 shows on covers since we started the Metal Hammer of Doom, as a matter of fact. And I thought, Cover Nation. Okay, I'm thinking now this is going to be a collection of, real bands. So you know what this is. Signed bands, actual bands covering other people's stuff. And I'm like, well, that's right up my alley. So I've been waiting all day to check it out because I don't have YouTube at work. Hang on. Damn Breitbart and his stupid messages, commercials. Shut up.
Live, everybody.
And manage any mix of.
Sad part is, like, I muted that earlier. And okay. Anyway, so Gavin posted a thing about Cover Nation. I got to check it out because I'm thinking it's like, it's bands covering bands. And you know what this is. This is YouTube singers. These are, theoretically, I'm going to assume unsigned people. I don't even know what they're singing. I honestly didn't recognize like 90% of what was up there. Well, what's this all about? I don't understand what it is I'm looking at here.
It's probably a very similar sort of happening to a lot of those Let's Play people. It's people who get famous on YouTube for just doing bullshit, and then, well, they start singing and people think it's entertaining. One of the few, like, random YouTube people singing things that I really enjoyed was this one guy who covers all sorts of things on guitar, like video game music, you know, orchestral themes, whatever. He's called, I think it's like 331 E-Rock is his page. But it's him and this other guy who does everything like anime themes to regular pop songs, covering True Survivor by David Hasselhoff.
Good.
You know the song from Kung Fury?
Yeah.
Did you ever? Yeah, and it's awesome because, you know, the song is like its own cheesy sort of 80s thing, but then they turned it into cheesy 80s metal. And it is just the most wonderful thing. But yeah, I don't. YouTube people on YouTube covering things, I guess there's an appeal to it because, you know, those people get super famous. Hell, the school that I'm teaching at, the kid of my teacher is watching like Minecraft Let's Plays as soon as he walks in and as soon as he gets back in the room from the end of the day, you know. Dude is watching that stuff all the time, and it's a very lucrative business if you're good and have a fan base. Otherwise, you're just one of the other 40,000 yokels that are doing it.
Yeah, I have this holds no interest for me. I mean, I can barely tolerate YouTube shows. Like, I like the Nostalgia Critic stuff. I like I've mentioned them a zillion times. Red Letter Media, you know, Half in the Bag is their show.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing Mr. Plinkett stuff.
Mr. Plinkett.
I used to watch the Confused Matthew videos. He recently retired. But it takes a lot for me to buy into a YouTube show. I guess I'm kind of a snob, which is really ironic considering, you know, I do podcasts and expect other people to listen to them. But no, just listen to my stuff. I don't give a shit about what you're doing. Yeah, it's like if I find something like legitimately funny or entertaining or insightful, I will promote it. I will talk about it. I will watch it. I love Screen Junkies. I think Screen Junkies is the greatest thing, and I will listen to every single one of their Movie Fights podcasts. I talk about it frequently, and you know, Tuesdays has become like my favorite day of the week because that's when the new Honest trailer comes out. I've even drifted over to Smosh Games for their Honest Game trailers. But
I love those.
It takes a lot for me to buy into a YouTube show. Like, I just discovered this one guy, Wrestling with Regret, and he spells regret with a W. And even that, I'm just like, I don't want to watch some dude ranting on YouTube about wrestling. I can't do it. Which is ironic because up until recently, and I don't want to do it anymore, but up until recently, I was on with 2 or 3 other guys ranting about wrestling every Wednesday night. Casual heroes, everyone.
Yeah, when you said formerly of, I'm like, oh. I mean, I never listened to the show anyway because I don't ever go to the site. It seemed like a bunch of bitching, but
you're not missing much. And yes, it was, and that's part of why I don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, I saw that, so I wrote back. I'm like, oh, that's not what I expected, and I left it at that. Like I don't if Gavin thinks that these chicks on YouTube singing songs I've never heard of. And granted, that's not like these are obscure songs. Some of the shit was like Taylor Swift, and I'm not kidding. On my kid's life, I don't think I could tell you a Taylor Swift song other than the one The Rock lip sync to. So,
you know 22. You've seen that video, haven't you? Or somebody took that video from Nitro where Goldberg got Sid Vicious's motorcycle like put in a fucking like compactor or something like that, and he's like 22 Goldberg, and it's the best thing. Every time that song comes on, all I could do is 22.
So
yeah.
So I told him
22.
I don't know. I don't. This isn't what I thought it was, and I left it at that. And he's like, "Well, what do you think it would be?" And I'm like, thought it was. Now here's what I wrote. I said I thought it was real bands covering other bands, and he's like, but that's what it is. Am I missing something? They're not bands. It's solo singers, right? Everyone I looked at a bunch of those videos. I didn't listen to many of them because I just can't bring myself to do it. I tried. I actually tried with one. I tried one video and I was like, no, I can't do this. And then I immediately started listening to metal covers. But I was like, there's not a band here. It's all singers. It's all solo singers. Am I wrong?
Oh, let's look at this here. I haven't looked at. Oh wow, it's trying to send me the. Let's see, Cover Nation. Yeah, they're apparently they're like a group. Let's see. What's it bringing me to? What the fuck? I think it's a musical group. I guess I didn't know what you were talking. No, I've never heard of this. Oh well.
I'll bring it back in on YouTube one. I don't know. In any case, that all led to me to kind of cleanse my palate, and and while I was waiting for the show to start, that got me into looking at like lists. Apparently, you can make lists now on YouTube, lists of videos. So I went and started looking at lists of metal cover videos because, and I don't know if you know this or not, but lately I've been missing wrestling on TBS. Now I've been missing doing our cover show. When we do them every March, we started this tradition last year right before I took off some time before my son was born, and then we did another show this year, and we promised that we would do a third show called Army versus Navy. And I'm dying to do that, just because I thought that was a funny title, and we both had songs. It was like In the Army Now and then In the Navy by Ailstorm. But I've been trying to come up with what good covers for that, and I actually went back. All day I've been listening to our very first cover show.
That was really fun.
It was, but boy, did we babble a lot on that show. It's just, boy, when I say we're going to kick back and tell stories, we really fucking kick back and tell stories. It was a
to be
fun
fair,
show.
This is like, what is this? This is the first 15 minutes of the Slayer podcast, and we spent it talking about old band.
We spent a cover about Cover Nation. That's okay, because I got a story for you before we get into the Slayer thing here. So yeah, I've been listening to our old cover shows. I'm going to listen to the second one when this is over. So I'm very very excited about doing that show again. I can't wait till March. This year's not even over yet, and I want to do another cover show.
Oh well, I'm stoked for it. I mean, hey, if it goes as well as the last one where I showed up 40 minutes late. Thanks, Lois. But, I mean, I think it's going to be really fun. Well, actually, hell, next March is going to be even more fun because that'll be student teaching. Whew.
Oh,
yeah, my school is 35 minutes from my house.
Okay. What are you going to be student teaching? What grade?
4th.
You're going to be teaching. You need to get on. You need to talk to my wife. She needs to school you. She's currently teaching 1st grade. But the year that we were dating, I think the first 2 years that we were together, she taught 2nd and 3rd grade. So she knows her stuff. But
yeah, I'm really digging it because it's like it's different than the way most schools run it because they actually run it like a middle school of sorts. So they'll transition between teachers every 50 minutes.
That's good. So
yeah, they got them split into. What's up?
Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Oh, I was going to say they split it into like high, middle, and low, and then work on it from there. And it seems to get pretty good results. I'm enjoying it. Loving everything about it, even though I hate making lesson plans.
Yeah, well, gotta make the lesson plan. My wife spends a lot of time working on lesson plans. So I found the story right before the show started tonight. It was on Breitbart, so take it with a grain of salt. Usually with Breitbart, I have to click on the links and find out where he got his stories from, and I'm very, very careful about not resharing Breitbart stuff. One, because anyone that's left of center that follows me on Facebook will start Facebook bombing me about how much they hate Breitbart. But the other thing is, like, sometimes, like, he'll put, like, stuff will come up on my Facebook feed from Breitbart that was for, like, 6 months ago. So I have to be very careful with that stuff. And it's usually sort of a wild interpretation of a much less, like, crazy story. But this one I didn't have that kind of time, and I figured why bother, considering the topic. Headline, Sex Bots, Why Women Should Panic. I figured this would be a good opener into Slayer. What do you think?
Sex bots? Yes. I mean, nothing says Slayer like Panic and sex bots.
Yes. So, according to this Breitbart article, which links to other articles we're getting all this from, sex with robots will be the norm in 50 years, says experts. Men are considering the prospect with curiosity and a sense of humor, but academics and feminists are terrified, I tell you, and calling for them to be banned. Let me tell you why. Do you need me to read any more of this?
I don't know. The Fleshlight wasn't exactly the most rousing of ideas at the end of the day. What is that line from Zack and Miri Make a Porno? How's your flashlight? It's like fucking a flashlight. What do you think it's like?
Well,
I mean, to be fair, as we've noted throughout technology, when something new comes out, porn will eventually come to it. So I guess robots, fuck robots. Why not? I'm sure somebody tried to fuck the VCR when it came out too.
I'm sure there was quite a number of people who tried to fuck the VCR, but that's neither here nor there. VCR. Oh goodness, just thinking about Andrew Dice Clay now. I fucked everything in the house.
No, I fucked everything in the house. Andrew Dice Clay. I love what my friend Nick. He's like, I got all of his jokes in one sentence. All right, what you got? He goes, and I told her, suck my dick. Oh. I'm like, yeah, there you go. Ta-da.
So, okay, you want to start reviewing Repentless?
I guess. I'm not gonna lie. Spoiler for the end of the show. After listening to this album, I was like, all right.
Yeah. One can come away from this album and say one thing's for sure: this, in fact, was a Slayer album.
Yeah, wasn't necessarily. It's definitely a modern Slayer album.
You seem nonplussed.
Have you read the lyrics?
No, that's your department.
Because after like doing Would You Be Pray, I kind of like, you know what? I really liked what I was doing there. So before this show, I was like, let's look at these Slayer lyrics. The song Repentless. I hate this fucking city, all this fucking arrogance. All these people are using my patience. I'm like, God damn it, Kerry King. Talk about it. He's like, yeah, all these fucking people. I hate this scene. I'm like, I thought we left Five Finger Death Punch 2 weeks ago.
I don't know. Maybe Kerry King should get on the Casual Heroes. That's about their speed.
I've not listened to it, but yeah, I can kind of imagine it was just like. I mean, granted, I watched Raw this week, and after that Nikki Bella thing, I almost turned the TV off. But
I was asleep after Paige versus Sasha Banks. But all right, let's. We're never going to get to this album at this rate, and it's my fault. I totally blame for this. All right. So on September 11, 2015, Slayer released their latest album, Repentless. Clocks in at about 41 minutes, 57 seconds. Came out on Nuclear Blast. Most songs were written by Kerry King. They released 5 singles: Implode back in April, then When the Stillness Comes back in April. Repentless they released in June, Cast the First Stone in August, and then You Against You was September, a week before the album came out. Their last album was 6 years ago. It was World Painted Blood, and it sounds just like this one. I have to say, we talked a lot about Slayer on previous shows, and I think one of the things that we talked about was they did some experimenting around the Diablos and Musica era, but since then, almost every album since, God Hates Us All, Slayer sort of, given us the traditional Slayer sound, and they haven't really strayed too far from that. I'm going to go ahead and play the first two songs back to back. The first is sort of an intro. I'm going to play the whole thing straight through, and if I get sued, so what? And then we'll play a little bit of the opening track, which is Repentless. So here we go with Delusions of Savior into Repentless.
Tom sounded really good.
I mean, it's a great song. I like it a lot. It's okay. This can't be another podcast where every song we're like, "Yup, it's fine." We can't do this again, Robert Cooper. We got to do better. We got to push ourselves.
I'll try. For a side note, so you know, Surge came back out, the soda from the '90s.
Sir, you are the second person to bring that up to me today.
Well, see, I bought some on the way home from school. Just as delicious as I remember it.
I'm drinking flavored water. Do you remember a soda?
Water.
Do you remember a soda that was out years ago where the tagline was "It gives you back what all the other ones took away"?
No.
I can't remember the name of the soda. I was the person who brought up like, oh, Surge is back, and I'm like, okay, well, I was never a big fan of Surge, but I do remember this other one that has like twice the sugar and caffeine of like a regular soda.
That's Jolt Cola.
That what?
That's Jolt Cola from the 80s.
Yes, Jolt. Yes. Where is Jolt gone?
I don't know. Into your average energy drink.
Okay. All right. So you were starting to say before that Repentless is essentially Kerry King bitching and complaining. You have anything else to add to that?
Well, it's also him bitching and complaining and be like, "Yeah, I'm an asshole. What's about it?" Like, I guess I can respect the fact that Kerry King is a very opinionated, honest man, but he's also a bit of a tool and a douche. And I feel like we're really missing something with Jeff Hanneman being gone, because he would at least bring some variety to the lyrics. Because to give you a preview of what I've looked at for this album, we have I don't like the metal scene, I'm an asshole, get used to it, fuck you people, you're testing my patience. We have America are a bunch of terrorists.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, that's the next song. And then there's, how religion or Jesus is a bad addiction, something like that.
Well, that's pretty common for Slayer. They vote.
Yeah, I mean, I really miss, like, Nazis. Not words that have rarely been uttered. I mean, think about it. Some of the best things that Slayer ever did were like Nazis or like dismemberments or, you know, something that, like their old stuff. Instead now we just get like, yeah, we're Slayer. Fuck yeah, Slayer. Slayer.
Okay. I still love Slayer. When I go to see
them live,
I enjoy Slayer. I don't know how many times I've told... It's not even going to see Slayer. It's introducing Slayer to people who are unaware of them and are not prepared for it. I know I've told this story, so stop me if you've heard this one before, but I think it was last year I brought my wife to Rockstar Mayhem, and, you know, she's Sister Hazel say-anything type girl, which, by the way, I'm going to see Sister Hazel play a baseball game, okay? You know these deals where you go to see a professional MLB baseball game, and at the end there's like a concert or a wrestling match or some shit? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you have baseball in North Carolina?
Yes. Yeah, we've got the Winston-Salem Dash, which is the local minor team, which feeds into the White Sox, which who the fuck calls himself the Dash anyways? And then there's the Greensboro Grasshoppers, which they've been in the Greensboro Bats. That was a cool name.
All right, so what I'm hearing is you don't have professional baseball in North Carolina.
Oh, God, no, not professional baseball. I mean, you know the most popular sport in this state is basketball, right? Ugh.
Yeah, your team is the Hornets, right, these days?
Yeah, it's the Hornets. So really most people's team is like, oh, no, Duke Carolina, which
right.
both those schools can go fuck themselves for all I care.
When I was in high school, I actually had a Tar Heel starter jacket. Remember them? And black starter jackets, the logo on the back. Yeah, I had a Tar Heels one. I don't know why. It's not like I ever watched college basketball in my fucking life, but I like that jacket.
Well, yeah, I mean, it looks plenty cool. Not to mention they can use all the fans they could get after, the African American studies.
All right, so in North Carolina, what baseball team do you guys root for? Like
Braves.
The Cincinnati Reds?
No, the Braves.
So,
the Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, no, not the Reds. Not the Reds. Just the Braves.
Just the Braves. Okay. So if you ever venture down to Hotlanta and you go to see a Braves game, if they're anything like the Rays, one of the promotional things they do to get people out to the old ball game, especially when your team sucks like the Tampa Bay Rays does, every season or so, We don't suck nearly as bad as the Bucks. The Bucks couldn't buy a win, but this isn't this isn't from the cheap seats. So yeah, one of the promotional things they do at professional baseball games is at the end of the game there'll be some sort of like concert or a wrestling match or something else going on to get people like, oh well, you know, I didn't necessarily want to see a baseball game, but I did want to see Greg the Hammer Valentine. I'm not kidding about that, by the way. I actually saw this once. Greg the Hammer Valentine wrestle some other old fucking beat up wrestler. It's fantastic. So at the end, for my wife's birthday this Saturday, we're going to a Rays game, and at the end of it is Sister Hazel. And the whole point of me going off on that tangent was she's not a huge fan of metal, as I'm sure I've said on this podcast a zillion times. So there's great fun in bringing her, for me, there's great fun in bringing her to a heavy metal show and, you know, something like Slayer, which is just not in any way prepared for. And, you know, they drop the curtain. They have speakers set up like upside down crosses. Tom Araya is screaming at the top of his lungs. There's all this death imagery on the stage, and they're playing Disciple, just as an example. You know, God hates us all. And I mean, there are a few things in life that I absolutely adore and treasure and hope I never forget. You know, the days my children were born and the look on my wife's face the first time she saw Slayer live.
I can only imagine the horror and annoyance.
It was a cross between I'm frightened and did you just fart during sex?
I'm guessing she's frightened because if it wasn't you, then who was it?
That was the face of her reaction to Slayer the first time.
Like, get me out of here mixed with,
She's handled Slipknot much better. Like, she's had to see Slipknot twice now.
Because Slipknot's, like, fairly tame. Like, yeah, they got the masks and, like, 19 people on stage. I mean, Jesus, they're like Chicago, for Christ's sakes. But they don't really have the satanic or anti-Christian overtones or the Nazis.
Oh, those Nazis. Okay.
Oh, those Nazis?
Hey, you, don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party. All right, speaking of Nazi party, here's track 3, Take Control. So just hearing that song, I mean, I like it. It's good. I think I would appreciate this album a lot more if I was still actively like moshing and saw them live, and you know got out there on the wood. But you know, just independent of that, you know, sounds like a Slayer song. But you read the lyrics, and I want to get your take on the lyrics. more so than Kerry King's being bitchy. So now you said this one he's calling America a bunch of terrorists. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Well, looking through it, here's the thing. Well, I call it the land of the free. Political banter, if you ask me. Fusing a problem, the question is how. With imminent conflict, the answer starts now. And then I want to say that's the chorus of, well, not quite the chorus, but as I can say, we're not the answer to the world's decay. Here to say we're just the ones who won't go away. What that says to me is that, we're not the answer to anything. We're just going to stick around and be world police. What I really feel like this song is saying is that, I guess, America's foreign policy causes more problems than it, really solves, and that really we're more like the terrorists anyways. Like talking about, it's talking in a first person. I'm assuming it's referencing something else. It says, I'm the propaganda war machine, the face of fury and obscenity, so when the society has gone astray, I'll be the one to pave the way. They'll never fuck with my reality, because this right here, to me, is unity. When all is done, we've always shown a domination that was never known. Yeah, I just feel like this song here is one of those anti-American songs, and there's a certain point to it that I'm like, that is very true, and I do respect that, but I almost feel like I'm really saying America is really a bunch of terrorists. Well, not like America as a whole, like a society. It's just as a government, I guess, but yeah, it's really interesting, and I can totally look at it that way, but it's a Slayer song.
Okay, so a couple of things about that. Well, number one, that's not an original thought. Okay.
Oh God, no. No, I know it's far from original.
Party on that one. There's 1,000 bands. I mean, for fuck's sake, the Dixie Chicks were doing this kind of stuff during the Bush administration. We're nearly at the end of the Obama administration. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't saying it was anything original. I was just saying this is here's old Kerry at it again.
It's such a weird thing that they would take on that. No, like I said, number one, it's not like it's an original concept. It's not even a hip thing anymore. I mean, most people were just. When was the last time we got involved in an intervention where people were we're not the world's police? Dude, this is the drone president, okay? This is for 8 years. This guy, has tried to get us out of armed conflicts and sends in the fucking drones. So, it seems weird. In 2015, you're mad about this? About, at least now, 20-year-old stuff. It just seems, or 15, 14, 13-year-old issues. Though I will say this, I watched the Republican debate last night. I don't know. Did you watch this at all, or have read about it since then?
Let's see. I didn't watch it. I was just waiting for there's here's the best gifs. I didn't care, because at this point it really just feels a little more like a fucking circus than anything substantial.
There's no feel about it. It is a fucking circus.
Yeah.
And the ringleader
as a customer once said, his English was really bad. He goes, "Oh, your hair looked like a Donald, what's his name?" I'm like, Trump? Yes, Donald Trumpy. With Donald Trumpy, as I call him now.
Oh, the big headline out of last night's debate was Carly Fiore handed him his fucking hat at least once. So, a girl gave it back to Donald as good as he gets one time, and the media ran fucking wild with it. It was oh yeah, If first of all, do you even know who Carly Fiore is?
I do, but it's because I was actually listening to NPR and they had her on there, and I was like, huh, she seems like a pretty interesting, legit person. Apparently, she's a Hewlett Packard CEO. Yeah.
She's not going to win a primary. She's not even going to come close. And whatever bump she gets out of last night's debate will dissipate over time. Well, Iowa's not that far away, but she ain't winning Iowa. She ain't winning Nebraska, and she ain't winning New Hampshire. So it's all well and good that she fucking gave it to Donald Trump one time, but who cares?
Well, hey, this is her time, kid. This is your time. You can tell Donald Trump to fuck off, and everybody's going to cheer, because honestly, I think that guy's hilarious.
Oh, he is.
Well, okay, I think he's hilarious, but it's even worse at the fact that there's a lot of people that think he's a real person. Like, for example, I saw somebody, I was at a stoplight, and they had a Trump 2016 sticker on the back of their bumper, and I kind of wanted to hit the accelerator. Just a little.
Totally voting for Trump.
Oh, God, please don't.
Oh, yeah, baby. I'm still a registered Republican because in Florida, you can't be an independent, which I was for a while. I voted independent. I was a registered independent until I was told by my dad that that's fine, but then you're limited to only national elections. You can't vote in primaries. And I'm like, well, primaries are the most fun. When you're down to Romney and Obama, that's no fun. When you're down to McCain and Obama, that's no fun. Bush and Kerry, that's no fun. It was fun when there was like 27 people you had to pick from, and they all suck. That's great fun.
Oh, God. I'm just imagining, like, the options. It's like, okay, who we got, Donald Trump or Hillary?
Right now, Hillary beats every single Republican, so it doesn't even matter. Like, Trump's beating everybody in the Republican Party, but he loses to Hillary by like 6 or 7 points. It's really fucking sad. All right, before this goes any further, this is track 4. Hope everyone's enjoying our review of Slayer and other topics.
Well, that's what this album is, really. It's really Slayer and other topics.
So speaking of other topics, this is track 4, Vices. What are we getting high on?
We're getting high on the manipulation of, well, the faith in God, or religion in general is what I'm going to guess its meaning, but since it's mentioned faith in God. Let's see, life challenge. Yeah, controversy and madness is the drug that we're getting on, so that's what we're getting high. Yeah. Oh, wow, God becomes a device to hide the pedophile. Oh, wow. Ooh, that's a great one. Okay, here's the verse. Holy man portrays the face of purity, hiding behind the shroud of vanity. Pure lust is his vice, a sickness to defile. God becomes the device to hide the pedophile. Like the way I just said that kind of just took Itty, like, it's sort of like, oh, yeah, this person's evil, and just made it kind of like an ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
So this song Vices is actually an anti-religion song, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? We're just like, yeah, it's an anti-religion song. All right, well, that's not a surprise. Oh, yeah, King wrote this whole thing.
First of all, this has been their rap for 40 years. They started in the late 70s, early 80s, if I recall. So, yeah, we're on like 35 years of the same shit.
This is very true.
And oh no, don't attack religion in the United States where unless you're a fucking Muslim, your religion is typically shit on.
Yeah. Yeah. Religion's just a fun topic nowadays. Yeah, nothing about like, oh yeah, religion, it's a horrible thing. Like nothing about that's really edgy anymore. We're like, all right, everybody does it.
This is starting to feel like if you sit down and really listen to it, this is Slayer's Try Hard album. You know, it's like, ooh, you know, it's Slayer in the giant bubble that is their own fame, trying to come up with stuff that's edgy and not really knowing not really getting what's edgy in this world. What are the kids really into? What is the public debate? You know, what is the national conversation? They have no fucking clue. They're like 60 years old, these guys. Okay? So like 50, they're in their 50s or 60s. Have you ever seen Tom Araya? You know, I love the picture of him at the Grammys with his daughters rolling their eyes at him. It's great. But that's now all I see when I see Slayer is a bunch of old men whose own kids don't even think they're hip. And what a fall from grace that is, considering they at one time were one of the most dangerous bands in America. And now, to quote Jesse Starcher, another religion pedophile song. Ho hum.
Hey, Tom Araya has like the best beard now. I don't know if you've seen it, but wow, it is. He looks like Hispanic Santa Claus. Like it is Santa Claus levels in terms of depth and whiteness.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, but it is. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, I feel like this is like Harry King trying to be like, okay, I got to make a good one. Then I guess he tried. By the way, does the album cover to you remind you of that woman who tried to redraw Jesus on that century-old painting?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You remember? Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just have to get you to remember it. It was that woman, like, apparently some old oil painting of, like, Jesus, and it, like, melted. Something like it washed away, so she tried to paint it herself and ended up looking like a monkey. No?
Sorry.
You don't remember? Oh, okay. I am going to say that. You'll when you see it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that thing. It was, like, years ago. Oh, it was so great.
You know what I remember from years ago? The woman who married a dolphin.
What?
Oh, you never heard the story?
No.
I had just moved to Tampa, and this was the beginning of the end of my blogging, because my first wife was a monster. But but I remember, like, I just moved into her house. I was just settled. I was at the computer, and I'm trying to, you know, and I had kind of taken a break from actively writing at 411. I was trying to get back into it again. And I'm like, all right, what? This is what I wrote for their politics page, which was basically Ashish's sort of self-inflating ego, you know, his way to push, like, I guess his, like, quasi-liberal agenda, which then fell off of 411 because no one gave a shit. The place where we're still arguing about whether or not TNA should live or die was also once upon a time a place where people tried to argue politics and drove me away from the top, and pretty much drove me away from seriously discussing politics with any human being ever.
That place was the worst.
It's fun to talk about, you know, 15 people debating on CNN for 3 hours, and, you know, the beginning of the end of Jake Tapper's career. That's all fine. I can live with that. But if anyone actually tries to engage me now in serious political discussion, my answer ends up becoming, I like cheese, because I don't want to talk about it anymore. It just devolves into the kind of, you know, shit that 411 typically devolves into, only that's across the board with anyone I ever meet. Anyway, rant aside, where was I? Oh, woman marries a dolphin. Yeah, that was the first story I wrote about when I got back to 411 in late 2005. You never heard about this?
No.
Woman.
Oh yeah, by the way, I posted the Jesus Monkey on the thing.
It sounds like a typo negative song.
Yeah, it really does.
Okay. Okay. This comes from NBCnews.com. And this was January 3rd, 2006. You ready? The headline of this article on NBCnews.com: "With this herring I be wed." Get it? Herring? British woman marries dolphin, tying the net after 15-year courtship.
Turd Ferguson.
Sharon Tedler, and apparently the story takes place in Jerusalem, of all places, but Sharon Tedler met Cindy, the dolphin, 15 years ago. She said it was love at first sight. Oh my God, I forgot about this. It's a lesbian relationship to boot. This week, she finally took the plunge and proposed. The lucky guy plunged right back. In a modest ceremony at Dolphin Reef in the southern Israeli port of Eilat, Tendler, a 41-year-old British citizen, apparently became the world's first person to marry a dolphin.
And of course, it'd be British.
Dressed in a white dress, a veil and pink flowers in her hair, Tendler got down on one knee on the dock and gave Cindy a kiss and a piece of herring.
This is wonderful.
Kind of reminds me of my wedding night. Not that I married a dolphin or was fed herring, but it was more of we threw a party after my actual wedding reception. We threw a house party because we had a lot of friends coming to town, and my wife was off entertaining some of her other friends, and I was demanding people bring me food. So a bunch of her other friends who were hanging out with me made me food and brought it to me, and then I decided that they were also my wives. I wasn't even drunk. I was just obnoxious.
Well, it's forgiven. It's your day too, Mark.
So anyway, we have callers. I gotta check I gotta check where these people are coming from because I don't get it. Area code 805. Where is area? All right, I'm gonna play a song and I'm gonna figure out where these people are coming from. Sound like a plan?
Oh, yeah.
All right. This is Cast the First Stone. Cooper, this is a monumental night. I'll tell you why. You ready for this? So, we actually have a caller.
Huh.
I didn't know how to react to it either. We actually had two callers. I tried to screen one of them, and I didn't get anything, so I hung up. So if you called in, you want to give it another try, I'd be more than happy to take your call. But we're going to go ahead and bring on our first caller here that isn't Jesse Starcher on the Metal Hammer of Doom. Area code 805. We're talking about the new Slayer. How do you do, sir?
Well, I just want to say Slayer is my number one band. It's the only record I ever listened to. In my pickup truck, I got 2 dogs and a shotgun and I just wanted to say, goddamn it, I love this music, and I'm so glad to see other people are talking about it. And I really wanted to ask you, do you guys blow each other a lot? A couple big faggots, I bet.
So what's funny about that is I actually screened them before I put them on.
Oh, wow, Mark. Good one.
Dude, he was normal in the screening. He was like, "Yeah, I just want to talk about the new Slayer. You guys are bringing up some articles. I was gonna join in." I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?"
I was actually amused by that one. It was really cute. I would have come up with that one when I was 16 too.
Oh no, he's probably not 16. He's probably like 40.
No, 16, 40. There's a certain point where you kind of just hit the same mental barrier.
So here's my question about that. Do people troll like Blog Talk radio shows and just like randomly will call different ones? Like, let's see if we can fuck with these people. Like, that's a thing? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure that's one of our 100 viewers. So you know what? People who want to show up here and troll, God bless you. Or if you're Gary King, nobody in heaven bless you. Just it's great, It's good to know that people care, even if all you want to do is come on here and be like, "You're a bunch of butt-fucking queers." It's really cute and funny, and I really do appreciate it. I'm not even being an asshole right now. I'm amused, but yeah.
There's a guy I used to do podcasts with. We talked about this a few years ago. My friend John, for a little bit.
John Rodigan.
Yes, yeah, freak boy. He had a thing about not taking calls, and that was a big reason why. He couldn't handle the trolls. And I was like, why? It's one thing if we have a guest on and people do that shit. But it happened once with us. We had somebody on. And we're like, oh, we're gonna take a call now. And again, we don't have a professional screener here. Like I said, I just screened those calls while we were playing Cast the First Stone. And I was like, hey, what do you want to talk about? Gave me his whole spiel, and I'm like, okay, bring on it for the next song. Okay, you got me. Cool, man. I hope you're happy. Hope that made your night. I hope that was your Sonata Arctica singing I Can't Dance.
Well, the thing that I found really humorous was he was like, yeah, I got my shotgun, and yeah, American. I hope you boys like fucking each other.
I knew it was Breaking Bad, though, and I'll tell you why. Because he was normal in the screening area. He spoke normally, right? He was like, yeah, I like Slayer. I hear you guys talking about the album, so I want to come on and share my thoughts. I'm like, oh, okay. Fucking 3 years we've been doing this show, but sure. What guy wants to talk about Slayer? God bless you. And then as soon as he came on, he's like, hi! And does a really bad Southern accent. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Remember, you can hang up on them at any time.
I was waiting for it to be funny. That's the other problem. It's like, you guys blow each other, and I'm like, looking at my watch, really? That's it? That's all you got?
Yeah.
I get zinged better than that on the Casual Heroes by Jed. Jed's hilarious, and he's fucking talking about having sex with my kids, which on the one hand makes me feel horrible, on the other hand I know he's funny, and I laugh about it because he's genuinely funny. Oh Lord! Now there's somebody else in the call queue whose name is Meep Sheep.
Oh boy! Hey, we should. You know what? Fuck it. We'll try this guy too.
You want me to do it without screening him? Tell you what, let's hear another song. Let's think about this, okay? Let's hear When the Stillness Comes, and then let's play When the Stillness Comes, and then we'll figure this whole thing out. Well, it ain't no rain and blood. It's not bad. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was very reminiscent of like the South of Heaven era, but in terms of the song, it really lacked a lot of the impact of those songs. Like, you know, some of my favorite Slayer songs are slower. Like this one, Spill the Blood's really awesome. Or not this one, I'm sorry, South of Heaven, Spill the Blood. But amazing tracks. This one kind of just dragged. It wasn't very impressive, and it makes me sad because, I mean, this is Slayer. I mean, I know Slayer is more of a brand name than a band name at this point, but yeah. I mean, it was just kind of a meh song.
They just
so do we have a?
Hang on, I'm gonna get there. They just toured with King Diamond not that long ago, right? On the very last ever Rockstar Mayhem that didn't sell out like anything.
Yeah, they did, and I was really sad because I've never seen Slayer and I've never seen King Diamond, and the rest of those bands could go fuck themselves. Okay, that's kind of mean. The rest of those bands were bands that I had zero interest in seeing. I just don't get how you would book that. Like, you book a show like that, okay, your entire undercard is new bands, and your top two are old bands.
I think part of the problem was, like, every band worth getting was either, like, doing their own headlining tour or starting their own festival. Like, Slipknot has its own 2-day festival.
Yeah, and, I mean, let's see, who else have they gotten? Well, it was like Korn, Rob Zombie, pretty much, like, all the big mainstream acts they could have gotten. I mean, King Diamond is a great grab, and I really wish I could have seen that. But, I mean, Slayer's been on that festival multiple times.
That's not like putting Black Sabbath at the top, you know, or Ozzy. You know, when they were doing that with Ozfest. I mean, King Diamond is one of those where you better come up with a, not mainstream, I hate to use that word, but you better come up with a more popular heavy metal band than that one if you want to have King Diamond. I'm all for having King Diamond on there, along with Slayer. But and your grandma. And your grandma. All right, speaking of grandma, are we doing this? Are we letting this guy on?
You screened him. What do you think?
I didn't screen him. I'm doing this cold at this because apparently screening people doesn't mean anything.
Oh, is this person still on?
Yes, they've been waiting for 5 minutes patiently.
Oh, sweet! I can't wait to be called a cocksucker again. Bring it on.
Okay. All right. You are the only one in the queue, so speak, sir.
Hello.
Yes. This is the Metal Hammer of Doom. How you doing?
Hi, good. I was actually the 303 caller that was trying to get on here earlier.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear you before. What's up?
Not a lot. I had a few comments I wanted to make about the album, but first of all, I wanted to ask, have you ever, touched a child before? Like, if you have kids or anything, have you ever...
Oh, you are precious. Oh, I've not. I guess fortunately for my future teaching career, as well as the denizens of America, no, I've not touched a child. But that one was much better than you blowing each other. Good job.
Well,
banana sticker.
Do a fucking accent. I mean, I was like, okay, he's normal speaking, but bravo, good. I mean, if you're going to do that kind of a juke, you really got to set it up. You got to take me in. Get me ready. Relaxed. Speaking of touching children, you got to get me relaxed. You got to get me to trust you, and then you pull the old rape with the words.
Yeah, just like that one joke's been going around, the whole John Cena prank call, like the one hello, is Champ there? Champ. Who's Champ? We'll find that out this Sunday night at Super Slam. That was a good... See, somebody either was taking notes or was the same person, which, good on you, buddy. I really appreciate your bullshit because, as Mark said, this album's not exactly one that instills a lot of debate.
No, when I thought about doing these shows, I was excited because we haven't done our show in a while. And I was like, okay, it'll be fun to talk to Coop again. I'm kind of getting my rhythm back as far as doing podcasts, because for a while there, my head wasn't really into it. And I had no idea that tonight was Troll Night. So Yeah, man.
Well, it's Slayer. Do you know how many fucking bros and douchebags Slayer brings out?
More than Hatebreed?
Oh, yeah. Because this is like...
Dude, Slayer and Hatebreed have actually toured together. And did you watch the latest South Park?
Yeah.
Okay. Watch the latest South Park, because this next comment will make more sense then. Hatebreed and Slayer shows are just filled with PC bros.
Good way to put it.
It's all
PC.
bros all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Slayer independently still brings out the metalhead, but Slayer and Hatebreed, and it was somebody was shouting, "I want to be a high school football hero." Speaking of which, track 7. This is Chasing Death. Chasing Death, what you got for me?
Really, there was nothing really substantial as a song. I thought it was a fairly good one. I liked it quite a bit. But lyrically, it's just another one of those, like, yeah, partying, like, you know, you're partying hard, you're going to die, you touch children, blah, blah, blah. I'm kidding. It was nothing about touching children. It was just, God, I'm still impressed. Like, I feel like I'm encouraging these twats now, but
Oh, don't encourage more trolls to call. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be funny when I wouldn't put them on the show, but just I don't want to go provoking the internet. They outnumber us.
Yeah, not to mention, well, I mean, 2 douchebags or 1, I don't know. Multiple douchebags tried to call it once, so who knows?
I don't know. Maybe they were having a
waiting in the wings.
Maybe they were having a LAN party.
Perhaps they are. I mean, I'm sure they're licking their lips, you know, either their own or their mother's, to come and try to attack us. So,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Cooper. Stop provoking them.
Oh, it could have been worse. I could have said, "You kiss my mother with that mouth?" That's my favorite. Like when someone's like, "You kiss your mother with that mouth?" I didn't know, but I kiss yours.
I can guarantee you they've never listened to the show before. This was
God no.
It was random.
Well, yeah, they were like, "Oh, it's Slayer, fucking Slayer."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean and they probably expected us to be the same kind of usual metalhead douchebags. So, you know, good for them. Hey, they gave us a really nice podcasting story to tell the podcasting grandkids.
Sure. All right. Anything else on now? If we could be serious for a moment, Chasing Death. What's it about?
I think it's just another one that was like kind of just generic. Oh well, there's the title. It's kind of what it is. Songs. But I felt like musically it was a much better song than a lot of this album. I felt like it had a lot going for it.
Okay. Let's not waste more time here. This is track 8. This is Implode. It's the next track's actually my favorite aside from Repentless, but Implode's that's a pretty good one too.
I felt like it was solid enough. I remember it came out. Hell, they released that one long while ago. That was what?
They released that was the very first one they released, and it was back in April.
Oh no, it was before April. Before this April, that's for sure.
2015.
I remember. Yeah, okay. That's much better. Yeah, I was like,
I should have read the whole date.
Yeah, because I remember I was sitting in a class actually, like before my class was, and I'm just sitting in there eating my breakfast with my computer blasting Slayer as my 70-year-old kind old black lady of a teacher walked in and was like, "What the hell?" It went over about as well as Slayer and the HBC would have thought.
I don't want to harp on this, but I wasn't going to bring it up again because I mean it seems to we don't seem to have any more fans calling in. That seems we had a rash of that now. It seems to have passed. But like poor Jesse's taking it to heart. I don't know if you saw the message on there, but poor Jesse Starcher, our honorary producer and sometimes guest host on this show, he sent us a couple of messages here. He's like, "Oh, these guys are douchebags," and like God bless you, man. I mean, whatever. The life is too short for me to get that mad about that type of thing.
Well, I mean, it would be different if we were like deep philosophical and interesting discussion about life and death, and or like we were talking about someone serious, or even if we were strapped for time. But no, this is fucking Slayer, and we're just shooting the shit on Slayer, and two douchebags decide to show up. We're probably the same fucking guy.
We got trolled on the Terminator podcast too. Like that was one where fucking Ben called in, he called in. I had already had Sean on there because he's the co-host, and it was just a battle royale of Radulich and Broadcasting hosts and co-hosts and such, and so I was we had so many friends of the show, quote unquote, calling in that I was taking everybody that called up, and then I took somebody. I don't even remember what happened now, but I took somebody, and I guess they were being an idiot. I don't know how long they think they're gonna go. Before, like, a little ways back, I was doing the MMA show, which I have long since retired and handed over to Winfrey, and I had Brodigan on, and we were talking about MMA in New York. He had some inside dope on what was happening that particular year. Now we know it was nothing, but at the time there was a possibility. The UFC was doing a big push to get pro MMA legalized in New York, in the state of New York, and he had some inside dope on what was happening and who the players were, and so we were having a conversation about it. And actually, another host called up, and like, in the host's mind, he thought he was doing the right thing by trying to like cross promote his show on ours. The problem was he called in at a time when we were having a serious discussion about, what's it going to take to get MMA legalized, and and everyone just goes to homosexual humor, because now I'm remembering that too. And he was like, "Oh, you guys are talking about MMA," and then immediately was like, "MMA equates to butt sex," and I'm like, it was Cal Pote. I don't know if you've ever seen him on Blog Talk Radio, but it's that dude.
No.
Okay, well, he had a show that I've never listened to his fucking show. I don't listen to anyone's Blog Talk Radio show.
Nope.
Told you, I'm obnoxious. But his show came up in my feed for the longest time, and he was like a follower of my show, and he chose that particular day. Like choose your targets a little bit better. Don't call in the middle of a serious discussion. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess what homosexual or the homophobic humor really is, it's an easy fruit to grasp, especially when you have the mind of a unevolved primate. But oh, dude, you have no. Actually, I don't think I've ever gotten really mean on this podcast. Oh, I can be brutal. Yeah.
You're out of reason to.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one, hell, I remember once I was, like, bitching about Jeff Harris, who did block me on Facebook, which I guess it was probably that time at the end of one of my podcasts I said, "Fuck you." Yeah, that wasn't nice.
What happened?
Oh, yeah, it was at the end of I think on the Metal podcast. I was just like, no. It was, it's either that one or the gaming one that I'm on. But he had called, and I was just pissed off, and I was just like, "Fuck you, Jeff Harris, fucking asshole, fuck off." And they're like, "Jesus Christ." I'm like, that was mean. And I feel horrible about it because, all in all, Jeff is not the worst person in the world. He's slightly abrasive, but
he's still slightly abrasive. But, yeah, there's no reason to curse the guy. He's just, I just find him difficult to get along with.
Because remember, I was like, I think he blocked me, and you're like, I don't know why he would. And then I was like, yeah, he has, which, now it just makes it look like Winfrey's having a conversation with himself, but
Speaking of which,
hilarious.
Speaking of which, so, I don't know if you ever listened to the movie review podcast that Winfrey and I do, which will be starting in about a week or so with a new batch of movies we'll be reviewing. Very first one is actually going to be an animated flick. Why animated? Because I can take my kids. Yes, I have children, folks. So, keep that in mind when you're making jokes. So I'll be taking my kids and my wife to go to the drive-in to go see Hotel Transylvania 2. And then the following Wednesday, Winfrey and I will review it against his better judgment. In any case, we did Pixels not that long ago. And he was telling me, he was like, "Oh, by the way, Harris wants to get in on this." No, it was Fantastic Four. Sorry. He wanted to get on Fantastic Four. That travesty. I was like, he can. He just has to behave himself. Like, I don't mind Jeff. That was the problem with Jeff. Jeff, I thought, had really good insight. And I thought he had interesting things to say. The problem was, a lot like Pat, he would just blurt them out and not have a sense that if you talk over people, you can't hear anything. That's kind of the way this stuff works. In an audio format, it has to be clean, or all you get is garble. So it wasn't even that I was trying to shut him down a lot of times. It was, don't talk over everyone. Don't talk over me. Don't talk over other people, because you're not getting anything across. It just sounds like crowd noise.
We all just sound like assholes. which I haven't heard anything from Pat in a while, but
Gonna zip my lips, not gonna say anything.
Let me put it like this. He seemed like a nice enough guy. I talked to him about 3 times. I'm good.
Speaking of good, here's my favorite song on the album, track 9, Piano Wire. Piano Wire. And I figured out as I was listening to it in the car the other day, one of the reasons why I like it so much, that opening riff I've heard in like a million other songs, most of them Slayer songs. But it's a great riff.
This reminds me of that time where we talked about how you mentioned how Black Sabbath was covering themselves. Yeah. Like some of this, I'm like, oh, there's Kerry covering himself again. Which, every time I listen to 13, I still really like that album. But I can't help it. Every time I hear Loner, I'm like, all I can hear is Mark Radlish going, oh, yeah. Because you're like, it's just NIB. And I'm like, shit. Because I was like, damn, Mark's right. That podcast. That was still great. Hey, Sean, how'd you like it? Oh, that was pretty good. What about you, Mark? I didn't listen past track 4. Well, fuck, Mark.
Yeah, I hated that album. And I'm not even like, I like Black Sabbath for the most part. I couldn't get through that album. It was terrible.
I don't think I've never actually done that on this podcast yet. What did I do that on? I don't think I've ever faked the podcast yet. Oh, yeah, I did it once. Well, I didn't fake it. It was something I'd watched before. I just didn't watch it in, the past year. Ooh, that was bad. First episode of Since I Writer podcast, that was bad. That was the worst episode, which, we're going to come back with a new episode, it's like a few weeks. It'll be the first episode in a year. What's the funniest part? We've been getting likes of it, a like a week, which is weird. Because, when you have, 50 people, one like a week is pretty impressive. We don't even post anything. We don't do anything. People are just like, oh, cool, all right.
Well, that's
I'm really...
You see, I don't know if you looked at the stats on Radulich and Broadcasting, but, all of the shows are... None of the shows pretty much, stand out. I mean, occasionally you get one that's, got way more listens, archive listens than anything else. And, it's like an aberration. It's just, you get the occasional fucking Baby Metal with 800 listens in a single, single fucking weekend. But even that, it's for the most part, most of the shows do average numbers, and there's no standouts. And then I was looking at the archive for a day, and unfortunately, Blog Talk Radio doesn't allow you to break down. It'll tell you individually how many people have listened to a show. It'll tell you individually how many people listen to a show per month. It won't tell you what was clicked on in a day. And on one day, we had 800 listens. But I went through the most recent shows, and none of them, other than the MMA show. And the MMA show does okay numbers. It does probably the best numbers of anything on here because it's advertised on 411. It's all, also, I haven't changed the URL since I started since the MMA show even started on here. So you're Googling like fucking MMA, you probably will come across this podcast more so than the Ground and Pound show, more so than anything else. Somebody asked me that once. I was like, why is it fucking 411 MMA? And I'm like, well, I didn't have a lot of.
You see, back in a time when everybody used to write for that site, which I was thinking the other day, I'm like, man, I really miss writing about metal. Maybe when I'm done with school. And then I was thinking, that was a lot of dedication. I mean, shit, right now I got a part-time job, 2 days of full schooling a week, and then a full-time school schedule. I'm like, what do my friend said? Coop, you're so busy, I feel busy just talking to you.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to track 10. Just a silly name of a song. Like, I can handle just everything on here. But this next one.
Is this the one that I'm thinking of?
It's Atrocity Vendor. Which
I
feel like they just put names in the fucking
one.
hat. Like, it just pulled 2 words out.
I feel like, I feel like you were going to talk about the next song. So we get to that one, I'll say it's the worst titled track of all time.
Oh, track 11, sure. All right, we are down to the wire here, folks. Last 3 tracks. Last 3 tracks here. This is Atrocity Vendor. That Atrocity Vendor is the stupidest title of any metal song ever.
No. The next one is You Against You.
See, I don't see how you can compare the two. Because You Against You, I've actually heard like other bands do similar stuff, if not the very same. Atrocity Vendor? Come on.
It doesn't sound like a really shitty 90s like thrash band doing the whole like alternative metal thing, right? Like I feel like this would be like Destruction's really shitty days. They called an album Atrocity Vendor.
Yeah, it seems like a really like bad movie.
I wish I could draw. We could do like the Tales of Atrocity Vendor.
Look, I know it's not what the song is about, but I have this image of somebody walking up to a vending machine and 1A is a baby's head, 1B, I don't know, just an aborted fetus. Why 2 baby things in a row?
I think Atrocity Vendor is going to have 2,000 WCW pay-per-view VHS tapes in one part. And then in the second container, it will, of course, be aborted fetuses. And then in the third one, it will be dead puppies. And of course, in the fourth one, it's going to be copies of Super Collider.
Yeah, the less said about Atrocity Vendor, the better. Okay, so this is the one you think is stupid. This is track 11, and we are getting down to the wire here, folks. We have one more track after this. This is You Against You. Reminds me of like the old like late 80s punk, you know, before punk became mainstream, but the old, you know, dirty 3-chord high, you know, peacock mohawk kind of punk. That's what that reminded me of.
This kind of felt that this was, I don't know, just like a weird fit for this album. Like, yeah. Like, all right, what we got here? Anti-religion, anti-government, all right, piano wires. Self-reflection, all right.
I mean, what did you get from the lyrics?
Well, let's see. Oh, God, I don't know who did these lyrics. They spelled sense wrong. I pissed my mom off the other day by mentioning when she was said something like, I couldn't care less. I thought she said I could care less. I could care less. I'm like, it's could. And she said, it did say couldn't. You're starting to sound like a smug asshole. I'm like, what can I say? It comes with the degree, I guess.
Please tell me the day your mother yells at you for all your fancy book learning.
Yeah, it's funny. I told her, she was like, I don't know why you want to move out when you graduate. And I was like, really?
There's a certain level of inability to have that kind of self-reflection. I went through it with my mom too. My mom's like, why would you want to move out of here, you know, and spend money when you have all the freedom that you need in this house? It's like, do you know what it's like living with you, even with all that freedom? I have to use a lot of that freedom because I don't want to be here all that often.
I don't even get that.
What?
Yeah, this song is more or less like, what's it called? What?
Hey, go back. I didn't hear what you said.
I said, I don't even get that.
Okay.
Freedom.
Oh, good God. That's right. Your mother keeps you on a tight leash.
That is very true, yeah.
Speaking of tight leashes, what happened to the chick you were dating?
I'm still talking to her. I'm talking to her right now.
Oh,
I finally got to see her. That was wonderful. It was very wonderful, actually.
No, she lives like a million miles away, though, doesn't she?
Like 2 hours. which is, I guess, a million miles away sometimes, but I still talk to her every day, and it's awesome, because she's awesome, and I'm awesome, so it's awesome.
Is there a plan for you to move closer to her so that your, dates don't have to come once a quarter?
I have no clue so far. Because, the one person that's like, yeah, you can move in with me, actually lives farther north than me. Like right now. That's South Carolina, so, yeah.
Okay.
It's not like I really have any of these plans set in stone anyways, but...
Well, you're student teaching, but you're student teaching near your house, right?
Yeah, well, it's preclinical this semester. Next semester is my actual student teaching. This semester is like just pre-student teaching.
No, that's what I meant though. When you talk about your student teaching before, it's you said it was like 20 to 30 minutes away, and this girl will still be 2 hours away. Duh. Yeah.
It's funny, even when I drove down there and I was like, hey, maybe I could meet you after class, and I was like, it's still 2 hours. What the fuck?
Didn't get any closer.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm like, damn, I'm 35 minutes south and I'm still 2 hours away. What the fuck is this place? Like the Bermuda Triangle?
So for this last song, I want to bring this up real quick. So you're familiar with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and all these classic books that were turned into horror novels by adding a werewolf or a zombie or some shit.
Yeah, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yeah, they're making a movie.
Which was actually funny. But that was an actually funny book.
That's coming out next year. Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
That'll be fun, and then we can get Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters.
Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm going to twist Robert Winfrey's arm and make him review that with me.
I'd like
I know we're doing Deadpool. We're doing any superhero movie we have to do. That's the rule. But I haven't quite figured out, other than what the summer blockbusters are, or animated films. I haven't quite figured out what I can fit in that he can tolerate. But that one's on my mind. So that's my setup, folks, for the last track on the album. This is Pride and Prejudice. Right up your alley. It's a fairly slow tempo.
Yeah, I found the song to be like, okay, that's an interesting finale. You expect the finale to be like do Slayer.
All right. So overall, would you recommend this album to other people Would you tell them, if you were talking about Slayer and you think you should go listen to Slayer albums, would you include this in your list of album recommendations?
No. No. I mean, maybe I'd include it on my list of albums to touch kids, or maybe you want to be your gay lover. But otherwise, this album's kind of a pass. As sad as that is to say, it's kind of just a samey thrash album. Like, there's a few standout songs, but this is really no different from, I don't know, like, what band did I listen to a few years ago that I was like, okay, that's got like 3 standout songs. Well, done with that.
There does get to a point with bands where I feel like they're not experimenting with anything. They're not trying anything new. They're doing what has worked for them in the past, and they make they make a set amount of sales. I mean, Slayer fans haven't gone anywhere, and especially when we've talked about this on the show before, especially with like Spotify and other music services, Beats. Who knows if people are even buying albums like they used to? But people will, Slayer fans will seek out a new Slayer album in the same numbers they always have. So they have nothing to lose by putting out a repeat of an album that was 6 years ago, which is new titles but basically the same riffs. So with that said, but there's also it's also been like a zillion years since they fucking put out Seasons in the Abyss and all the other old Slayer albums. So what I mean by that is there's still by putting out a new album, there's an opportunity there, because it'll come up in like a Spotify feed if you click on the new albums, and there's some kid who's clicking around and we'll find it and we'll say, oh hey, what's this Slayer shit all about, and we'll listen to it. And the trick there is that they'll be hearing an album that's hardly any different from anything else Slayer's ever put out. But it also gives them the opportunity to go out and tour on something. So, and that's where the money is made now, and that's just another area where they can make new fans. So it's like, I get why they don't have to put a whole lot of work into this.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost kind of feel like they tried with this one, but as a thing with this time where I've been making jokes, we're just trying to sound like Slayer at this point.
No album before this one have I ever seen them really show their age. But yeah, Slayer now, I feel like are definitely divorced from the national conversation culture. It's them doing what they think is cool, which is really sad. Yeah. But I guess it just kind of feels like at this point Slayer has become like your dad's thrash. Well, no, Metallica's your dad's thrash band. Maybe it's like your uncle's thrash band. Like, same age, just maybe a little wilder. Well, what kills me is like, let's assume, like, I have a child who's currently 1 year old. Like, my daughter's never going to listen to heavy metal. I understand that now. I've come to accept it. But I have a second shot here. I have a 1-year-old son, and 10, 12 years from now, he starts really getting into metal. I have this thought that like I want to like, oh, you listen to whatever the garbage he'll be listening to when he's that age. Like, you like that? You should hear this, and I'll play him like Angel of Death or Rain and Blood or Chemical Warfare, or, whatever, and he's gonna be like, yeah, that's garbage, hot garbage, Dad. Here's what I like, and I'll be sad. No appreciation for the classic, and it will be a classic. And you realize we're getting to an age now where like that whole like 80s group of thrash metal bands like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax are moving into the golden oldies territory. Oh yeah, that's the weird part. Is that these bands that like, even though I wasn't around when they came out, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this stuff's really cool and rebellious, and then you realize, fuck, I'm listening to this even when I was listening to it brand new. It was, just
still 20-something years old. Now it's even older.
Well, I think about
it's getting older.
I think about growing up with my parents, and now if people haven't listened to the show before, first of all, if this is the first show you ever listened to, I'm sorry, but if you've never listened to the show before, I'm significantly older than Coop. I'll be 40 next year, and he'll be 15. I grew up, my parents, they would listen to CBS FM. It was a golden oldie station. And what did the golden oldie station play? They played music from the 50s. No, this is the 80s we're talking about, so it was like a 30-year difference in time. And that's exactly where we are right now. If you're playing stuff from the early, from 1985, that was 30 years ago.
That really does kind of add in. Hey, asshole. Sorry, one of my cats is being an asshole.
Is this Boo-Boo?
No, I miss Boo-Boo. He died.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't pay attention.
Yeah, he's been dead for 2 years now. But, geez, where have you been, Mark?
You know what's sad about the fucking sad thing about that, Rob, is I listened to the very first cover thing, and you talk about your cat on that one, and I really was trying to make it sound like I pay attention, and failed miserably.
Oh, that was still, like I said, when we did covers 3 or something, I went and listened to that first one, I'm like, yeah, we're running our mouths, but yeah, I was fucking having fun with our bullshit.
Well, I
was having fun. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is kind of the best of what we do. We give some insight into the music, and it can be all fun and dandy, but really a half of it's story time and us are just frivolous bullshit.
I didn't even give out the number. That's I stopped on this show and long ago, and I never gave out the number, but I stopped giving out the number on this show I don't know how long ago. I just gave up on callers. To this day, I would still love to do a show or talk about the news of the day. The Whiskey Rebellion is the template for the kind of show I've really wanted to do. Problem is, I've now had 2 attempts at this, and both attempts fucking blew up on the launch pad, basically. Brodigan and I flamed out really quick. And then I did it with Gavin and Chris for a little bit, but the less said about that, the better. So,
and that's why we're on Thursdays.
Yeah, that's why we're on Thursdays. But the point that I don't even want to do with a host anymore. I'd rather just have a steady stream of callers. But it's but what I'm learning about Blog Talk Radio is there is no steady stream of callers. It's all people asking if you're gonna, if you're a fag. So it's all right, the dream is dead. I get it.
Yeah, it's in the final track of Woodsy E. Praise third album, The Dream is Dead, The Scene is Dead. And that is more or less the Blog Talk Radio scene. Because really, I don't, I use this one app on my Kindle that gets iTunes feeds, and I listen to anime podcasts all the time. That's what I do. But I've never went to all right, Blog Talk, what do we got here? Yeah, people, I just don't. Yeah, I like that this place exists because I get to host the things I like to talk about, and while 10 people, tens and tens of people listen to it, but literally tens.
I gotta share this, and then we'll start doing plugs. Question of the night. This is from Jesse Starcher, who has been talking to us all night on Facebook. What kind of business license do you need in order to be an atrocity vendor?
What did he ask? How many what?
What kind of business license do you need in order to be an atrocity vendor?
Ooh, you either need to have a law degree or, I was going to say license to ill. That helps. But I just remembered I owned that.
I was thinking maybe a liquor license. All right, let's do away with the silliness.
All right. Who are we licking?
So, again, these are the next couple of shows that we'll be doing. They're a little ad hoc here, but October 8th, myself, Cooper, and Jesse Starcher will actually call into the show. we'll be reviewing Psychic Warfare by Clutch, the new album. It'll have just been out a few days when we review it, so that's kind of why. What's happening is the next 2 weeks we're going to do back-to-back episodes of Long Road to Ruin, in which we will be discussing the 5 Highlander movies. And I will attempt to defend Highlander 2. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm saying it has potential. That's my argument.
Worse. It could be the future multi-million-dollar space film God's Not Dead 2, The Quickening.
Could be Fantastic Four, directed by Josh Trank.
Oh, God. But they are seriously making God's Not Dead 2.
On October 22nd.
They should call it, like, God Deader or something. Or Live Free or God's Dead. I don't fucking know. Go ahead.
On October 22nd, I throw it to Cooper to pick an album, and he goes and picks one by Frost and Blot. This is The Wanderer, unless, of course, they release a new album between now and then, in which case we'll do that.
It'll either be Frost and Blot 2, Wanderer on the Continent of Saplings, or the third Frost and Blot album, which is supposed to come out this year, Mega Cthulhu or something like that? I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. By the way, did you listen to much of Frost and Blot 2?
Yeah, I listened to the whole album.
What'd you think? Did you
like
it okay?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I told you it sounded like a folk metal band fucking kidnapped Billy Joel and made him play piano.
I'm just imagining that. I mean, hey, Billy Joel's really busy right now. It's getting kidnapped by folk metal bands or getting kids.
All right, speaking of which, we only have 4 minutes of live time left, but I got to share this with you. Are you familiar with the comic Patton Oswalt?
Of course.
Okay. So he does a bit on one of his albums about the circus, and it's very anti-circus, very negative on the circus. And one of the things that he says is the reason why he feels what he does about the circus is that it's basically animals forced to perform against their will. And then he goes into the shtick about, like, imagine, if you will, Elton John, screaming at you while playing piano. And he's just screaming the lyrics to his song and run off stage, and you hear someone crack a whip, and he goes back to his piano and starts again after he takes a dump on stage. And it's one of those bits where every time I hear it, I have to stop, like, driving or whatever, because I'm going to black out laughing. If I can find a cut of it, maybe I'll play it sometime on here.
Sing. Rocket Man, I don't want to do this.
Anywho, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Frost and Blot. On November 12th, so there's a break in between 10/22 and November 12th. November 12th is the only show we're doing in November, and we decided we were going to do this earlier in the year, and I'm very happy this is happening. So I've been waiting and patiently waiting for something of the Disco Elephant, Rise of the Disco Elephants, I think it's called.
Stampede of the Disco Elephants.
What's it called?
Stampede of the Disco Elephants.
Right, Stampede of the Disco Elephants. That makes more sense. But apparently Fred Durst took fucking Axl Rose pills, and it's taking forever to get this album out. So instead, we're going to do, I'm going to pick the best of Limp Bizkit from Spotify, and we're going to review the best of Limp Bizkit on November 12th. And hilarity will ensue, I promise.
Yes. Like, I'm really tempted to sit down and just try to give it the same lyrical treatment I gave Woods of Ypres.
I would hope you would. And our very last show of the year is December 10th. Maybe we'll do something Christmassy. Maybe we won't. Maybe Robert will just pick an album. Maybe we'll do a band review. Like, we haven't really done a lot of those this year. We started off the year with Typo Negative, and then we never did another one. So we'll see what happens. But that's it. Those are the last 4 shows of the year, and then we'll start up again fresh next year with some new albums. some new ideas, and some more fun. Robert, what you got going on in your world? Anything?
Oh, well, let's see. There's this podcast, as I said, Sentai Rider podcast. That's the my Tokusatsu podcast where I talk about Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and Power Rangers and all that. Well, I haven't released an episode since last October, so, well, it's about time for another Kamen Rider season to start, so, yeah, me and Hunter might do that. Hunter the other day was like, yeah, man, we got to record something. I'm like, oh, yeah, that thing. So, hopefully we'll dust the old, oh, I forgot what that program was. The old Skype recorder. We'll get that on going and get the Audacity running and edit something, it'll be fun. But yeah, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Sentai Rider Podcast. It is SENTAIRIDER podcast. The Cooperative Multiplayer Podcast, which is on the, let's see, either the Co-op Multi, no, I think it's the W2M Network page on Spreaker.com. It's Sean Garmer, Mark Morrison, and I show up on there occasionally. Daniel Anderson, who's a writer on 411, will show up. It's a gaming podcast. Ironically, I've been playing a lot of video games lately. It's just, well, he tends to do that podcast like Tuesday at like 2 in the morning, and yeah, there's not many days where I get to sleep, so I don't tend to stay up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. Like usually, like 12 to 2 is my bedtime.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll show up on there eventually, but keep your eyes on the net or out on that. Give it a listen. Real nice guys. They got really interesting things to say. It's just I can't be on there to say them. So yeah. Otherwise, that's it. Remember when I used to take 10 minutes to plug things?
Yes. You also used to be like you used to do double shots of podcasts where like you'd finish with me and then you'd go do something else.
Yeah, those are those are some of the worst. Like, just in terms of talking, like I think there was once I did one podcast at 8, and then I did this podcast, then I did the gaming podcast. There was like 3 podcasts in a row, and I was like, oh wow. Yeah, wow. I used to do like 5 of them, but I have this thing called like a job and school and other school. Oh, now I know how adults feel.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, yeah, I've pulled back. I'm back to just doing the 2 alternating podcasts, this and The Long Road to Ruin, and the occasional Wednesday review, though we will probably try to fit in somewhere some Jessica Jones when that debuts in November. We'll see what happens. I know Comer had some interest in hosting that. I figure I'd show up once or twice. And then occasionally I pop up on Jesse Starcher's very popular comic book podcast, the Source Material. But you probably won't be hearing me too much on the Casual Heroes WrestleCast anymore, because I think I'm done with that, at least for the immediate future. So with that,
that reminds me. Speaking of Jesse, he and I were supposed to do a podcast together on Source Material. I kept forgetting. I kept not being free, because we were supposed to review Makoto Yukimura's wonderful Viking manga called Vinland Saga. Jesse, it was fucking going through that. Like, we were going to review like about 100 issues of that series, and I told Jesse, make sure you pace yourself, because none of these issues are like short reads. They're all 30 pages apiece. Each chapter is 30 pages apiece. He fucking went through 6 volumes in like a day. I'm like, Jesse Starcher, you magnificent bastard. But yes, stay tuned for that on Source Material. The 2 of us doing well, actually, it's going to be very much like that Woods of Ypres podcast, because while a lot of that comic there's a decent amount of very detailed gore, which is really impressive considering it's only in black and white. There's also a lot of philosophical discussion to be had. So, yeah, I know Jeffy's listening. We're going to fucking do this sometime.
All right. For Mr. Robert Cooper, I am your mandated reporter, Mr. Mark Radulich. This has been the Metal Hammer of Doom review of Slayer's Repentless. I want to thank the trolls, the fans, and the little people. Be well, be safe, and behave.
We're all looking for the recipe for success. A better career, bigger house, faster car. But have you thought maybe you're just hungry? Maybe what you really need is the recipe for fresh. Luckily, that's easy to get and just as easy to cook up. Just go to freshfromflorida.com. There you'll find all kinds of recipes that use in-season and locally grown Florida produce. Sure, they're not the keys to a new sports car, but Fresh from Florida recipes are a satisfying, tastier kind of success. Visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.